Hey there everybody, it's Matt with Max Video, and today we are doing an anime review on the first anime that I ever watched. Now that's saying something. Technically it isn't, but it's the first anime that I knew was anime, that I didn't just think of as another cartoon, but knowing that it was actually, you know, a different, you know, type of animation. This was Anyway, the anime is Yu Yu Hakusho. Now, I watched it back when it was on Toonami, which, the good old Toonami, the one that ran Cowboy Bebop and Yu Yu Hakusho and Inuyasha, all the nice classics. Now, when I watched it, I kind of started it in out of order. The first part I saw of it was in technically the third arc, and that was the Black Club arc. But I ended up watching it in order after I first saw it. I took a I watched it once, loved it, but I didn't get to watch it, and then like Toonami did, it put it on a cycle, and I watched it from beginning to end. Well, that was about 10 years ago that happened. Um, and I decided recently to rewatch it from beginning to end, and I just finished it. Like, I watched it on the tablet, got off of Funimation, turned on the camera, and now we're here. But uh, anyway, let's go into this. Yu Yu Hakusho is a anime about Yusuke Urameshi. In the first episode, Yusuke is killed in a car accident. He is on the sidewalk, and a kid is about to get hit by a car. He pushes the kid out of the way and gets hit by the car instead and is killed. Well, the people in Spirit World, and in this anime, there's three different worlds: living world, spirit world, demon world. Anyway, the people in Spirit World, it was just where living humans, when they die, their soul goes to living world. Spirit world. And Kawinma, who is the prince of Spirit World, told Yusuke that it wasn't his time to die, and they didn't have a place for him because of that. Statistically, they didn't expect him to try to save the kid because in his life, Yusuke is kind of a punk. He just picks fights, he skips school, he has a terrible home life. He's just statistically not somebody that they would have expected to try to save a child. Well, Kawinma gives him the task of you can come back to life. But to do so, you have to do some stuff, and there's the introduction to the show. Now, later on, you meet the rest of the core characters in the show, which are Yusuke, of course, Kuwabara, who is Yusuke's, I guess you would say his best friend, even though they're not. You wouldn't think it when you first meet them. Kuwabara is like the guy that wants to beat Urameshi at everything, and they just clash a lot in the beginning. It's funny, but Kuwabara looks up to Yusuke in the ways of he doesn't fight him for the sake of beating him. He fights him for the sake of learning something about it, I guess. That's what I put it. So Yusuke, Kuwabara, Keiko, who is Yusuke's love interest, she's the smartest girl in class. She's the head of the student council. The token good girl. And so it's kind of, that classic mashup of the good girl with the bad boy. And it works well. Sorry, every time I put my hands up, the lighting changes. Anyway, but, so those three, then you have the ones from Spirit World that you meet. Botan, who is the chief pilot of the River Styx. She's the first person that Yusuke sees after he dies, because she is essentially the Grim Reaper. And Botan is this bubbly, peppy. I guess she's like half cat or something. Cause they joke about it a lot. So I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you. But she's a traditional anime character that has the weird colored hair. She has that light blue hair, and she's one of my favorite characters just because she has the ability to be the comic relief, but she also has the ability to bring the mood down as well. She's a very well rounded character when she probably wasn't supposed to be. So there's Botan, Koenma, who is the prince of Spirit World. He is 666 years old at the beginning of the show, but his form is that of a toddler. Sorry, there's a roach in the corner. I was distracted. So if I just keep glancing that direction, you know why. Weird. But yeah, and his father um, is the king of Spirit World. So he kind of takes care of all the living world business, essentially. And at first, he is, just kind of a throwaway character, in my opinion. But as the show develops, he gets a lot of backstory, and it's actually really nice. Let's see. Then you have, let's go with Genkai, who is Yusuke's master, essentially the one that trains him, and she is an old lady who lives in a temple up in the mountains, and she is bad A for an old lady. And so you have her. Let's see. Then you have Hiei, who is a fire demon, and he was the main antagonist for Yusuke's first case as spirit detective, and I'll get to that in a second. Explain that when I get to the characters. And he has the Jagan eye, which is a third eye that helps him see things in a different way. I guess you can see far distances, and it's a magical eye, and it also enhances his power infinitely, really. And he's also through events, he becomes the possessor of the Dragon of the Darkness Flame. He's bad A. He's a master swordsman, but he's also like 4 foot. So Kuwabara makes fun of him a lot, which is funny. Then you have Kurama, who is by far my favorite character in this show. I love Kurama, and not in that way. But Kurama is a demon that was reincarnated as a human after he had to stash away into the living world. Well, he is the human incarnation of Yoko Kurama, the fox demon. And he has control over nature, essentially. His weapon of choice is a whip made out of rose thorns. He can plant demon plants inside of you and all kind of stuff. He is bad A, but he's the brains of the group. He's the one that thinks out strategies. He's always 5 steps ahead of you no matter what he does. And you also meet him at the same time you meet Hiei, and yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's the main crew that I would say. You have a few other ones that get added in, like Shizuru, who is Kuwabara's sister, Yukina, who is Hiei's sister. I realized that the main side characters are anyway. But so the premise of the show is that after Yusuke comes back to life, Koenma gives him the job as spirit detective, which is the person that keeps living world free of dangerous demons. And so his job is he'll get a case, he goes and solves it. Well, the first case was against Hiei, Kurama, and another demon, which can't remember the name, but he ate children. Yeah, cheery fellow. And through that, he became friends with Kurama and Hiei. And the second case was Maze Castle, which was the Saint Beast. They were that, um, which like animes do. Some of the strongest demons you'll ever face. And later on, you're like, oh, those were some pansies. But they were trying to infect the world and break open the barrier between them and the humans. Then you have, oh wait, I skipped one, the important one. The first one that first case Kuwabara went with Yusuke was against Rando, which was where he met Genkai as well. She was giving a tournament to pass on her legacy. The winner got to, learn her techniques. Then you have Maze Castle. Then you have the Tarukane Black Black Club arc, which is where you meet Yukina. Then you have the Dark Tournament, which Toguro, which was probably one of the weirdest but funnest villains I've ever seen in anime, was. He was a human that, after winning the Dark Tournament, the winning team gets to have any wish they want fulfilled, kind of like in Dragon Ball Z. But he wished to become the strongest level of demon. Again, anime logic, and you learn that that's BS later, but yeah. And after the Dark Tournament arc, you have the I'll call it the Sensui arc. It had an actual name, but I can't remember it. And Sensui was the spirit detective before Yusuke, and he's trying to again bore a hole through the barrier between living and demon world. And then you have the Makai tournament, which was in Demon World. It was based in Demon World. Well, there you go. There's the show in a nutshell. Overall, love this show. Few critiques, though. From what I've researched, the creator of the show wanted to end the show after the Dark Tournament arc. He didn't want to continue on, but it was a popular show, so the studio convinced him, and he was like, okay. And he just kind of bleh the rest of it, which was like the last season, really. So, I wouldn't say it drops in quality, but it doesn't feel the same in the last parts. The animation style was ahead of its time when it was out, which was the 90s. So, it was... It still holds up, really. I mean, yeah, you can definitely tell it isn't, up to par with today's standards. But it wasn't like when you watch old ones like Trigun or stuff like that you're like, oh, this is a bit outdated, but the story holds up, so I'm good with it. It still holds up to me. I might have, nostalgia filter on, but it still holds up. The music, I do like how they actually translated the opening theme to English for the English dub. Like, it's kind of like they did with Sailor Moon, which I guess that was the way it was done back then. I don't know, but it went very well, and I loved the opening theme. I actually had it as my ringtone for the longest time. Overall, great show. Highly recommend it. Well, that's it for this one, guys. I've gone way over my time. Well, that's all for me. If you liked it, give me a like. If you want more reviews like this, please subscribe. And I will see you in the next one.